Hi everyone, it's Carol here at Tokau's Journals. Big warm welcome from me as always. Thanks for joining me. And I've got my Junk Journal July journal in front of me here, and I'm going to tackle prompt number 17, which is pause. So if the challenge is new to you, there's information in the description box below the video. The page I'm working on is this page, and I've got this little flap that I left myself. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to keep that or not. I'll see if I can actually work it in. You saw me auditioning at the start of the video a few of the pages and papers that I've lifted out for this page, so I'm just going to crack on and make a start, and I'll be back at the end of the video to have a little chat with you and to show you what I've managed to pull together. So see you in a little while. Here I've got a stamped image on a card, and I'm just trimming it to size with my decal edge trimmer, and I'm thinking about placing it in the centre of that handmade paper with machine stitching all the way around, and then writing my sentiment above and below it. And here I am just writing it in pencil, having another attempt there, and I'm going in with a Bic biro. And I like how I write it, I like how it looks, but I can still see the pencil lines underneath, and I didn't like the effect that I got when I attempted to rub out the pencil marks. It actually smudged the ink, so I don't end up using that in the end. Here I'm just ripping off the margins from some vintage book pages. Decided to cover up that lovely handmade paper on the left hand side, which was such a shame, and I decided to cover the whole of my page with book page. So just piecing it together here, gluing it on using a Pritt stick, and another little portion down at the bottom there. And going in with some Ranger texture paste, and this is the opaque, and that's one of the Ranger stencils, mini layering stencil set 25 this one was. So I do a bit down each side, then add a little bit more at the bottom and a bit more at the top on the left hand side. Oh no I don't, I thought I did. So here I've got a piece of beautiful cream coloured handmade paper, and I'm trying to feather it at the edges and roughly just get it to go round my texture paste. Takes a little bit of fiddling, and here I'm ripping it so that it goes into the fold of the page, and doing the other side here. So I'm happy with that, and I go in again with my Pritt stick just to glue it down. Decide I need to use my tweezers to tease a little bit into place. And then going in, as you can see, on the left hand side. It's got a nice texture to this handmade paper, so I don't need to wrinkle it up, it just gives a natural texture. And then ripping it away in the centre there, down that centre fold. Decide I wanted a little bit at the top there, so going in with one of the scraps. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to use that flap at the top at all, so I decided to cover it with paper just in case I do, with the handmade paper. And here I go in with some of the Moo Craft washi stickers. And if you watch my channel, you'll know how much I love these. I'm just putting various pieces of foliage along the bottom initially, just to build up a little bit of green foliage at the bottom, and then I go in with some pink flowers and petals in amongst the stenciling, just to take the foliage up and around the page. So it takes a while, well, a good wee while, to put all these pieces in place, but it was fun to do. And as you can see, I've moved on a bit from the bottom, starting to go in with the coloured pieces now. And these sit really well on the book page, on the handmade paper, and also on the texture paste. They're a delight to use, they really are, and they look so natural when they're in place. You don't get any harsh edges, and because they're washi, or made of washi type material, they just blend into the background like tissue paper does. So I absolutely adore these stickers. So as you can see, I've more or less built up my background of foliage, and I decided to use some of the numbers that are in amongst my flower stickers, and I'm dotting those here, there and everywhere on my page, just having fun and just placing things where I think I like the look of them being. And I do go in with some along that top edge as well, not the numbers, the foliage. There we go, you can see. And I've decided I'm not going to be able to make use of that flap as much as I want to, so here I am just tearing it away and just trimming away any excess at the top of the page. It's a shame, but no, it didn't work. And the bit of the video you've missed here is where I went in with some letterer set letters, and here I'm just adding some Ranger picket fence over the top of my letters to try and blend them in. So this is my finished page, everybody. The last thing you saw was me going over the top of the wording with some Ranger Distress stain in picket fence, so it's still slightly damp at the moment, but the reason I did that was to try and knock the letters into the background a little bit. So you're seeing some white around the letters. That will probably dry and almost merge into this background here. If it does, then I will come back in with either some white acrylic paint or some white gesso and just dry brush over the top of this, because I'm actually quite liking that look, but I want to see what it looks like when it dries. And it will take a minute or two if I don't get out the heat gun, simply because I've put this very, very fine handmade paper over the top of my vintage book text. So I'm just going to leave that to dry naturally. Why did I go with the lettering? Well, I went with the lettering because I made a mistake when I was using this piece of handmade paper that's been machine stitched round. I love this, and I wanted to use it on the flap at the top so that it would lift up and down, but I didn't like how the handwriting looked on here. When I went to rub away the pencil, it smudged the ink that I'd used. So I've just covered it over the top with a piece of the handmade paper that you saw. I was thinking that I might use that on my page, but I decided not to. And similarly with this little piece, I actually thought that might be quite nice to use on my piece as well. I still could use it like that. And I might actually, looking at that, I quite like it. It does fill up that gap, and yeah, I think I might do that actually. But anyway, I will think about that. I can't make a hasty decision on anything, so I'll think about that. But as you saw, I've just trimmed this down and I've just backed it with the paper. So yeah, all explained as I went along, and I hope you like the end result. I'm quite pleased with it, and it was one way I could think to get in the word pause. And actually that is quite a nice saying, isn't it? Pause to smell the flowers. It just means take your time in life and just stop once in a while to appreciate what we have. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care, and I hope you join me for the next video in this series. Until then, bye bye now.